Hello and welcome back to my RC channel. I'm AndyRC and today I'm in liftoff. And why is that? Well, why not? It's dark at 3 PM here, which is depressing, and they've made some nice changes in liftoff. So I thought I would showcase some of those changes, and one of those changes, if you take a look at the bottom, as you can see my sticks. And for the amount of people that say my flying is terrible, I get the same amount of requests asking me to do sort of like a tricks tutorial. And the problem with that is I fly mode 1. So usually it just confuses people when I show my sticks, but what I can do now is it's converting my sticks to mode 2, so I should be able to show you some of the tricks that I like to do and show you the sticks as well. So yeah, I'm gonna show some of the updates, not all of them because there are loads, and also go through some tricks that are specific to me. I'm not gonna claim that I invented any tricks or anything like that, but just some tricks that I do, and you know, if you're interested, then there you go. So I get asked all the time, what is the best simulator all round? And I used to say Velocidrone, but they've really improved this one, the flight characteristics, and there's loads of different quads, there's loads of different scenes, and yeah, it's kind of like when people say what are the best goggles, and everyone's got their own preference. So I will just say this: liftoff has improved loads, and I prefer how it flies now to Velocidrone. Velocidrone is great for like freestyle, but I find that it drifts quite a lot when going through like gates and stuff, whereas this one, yeah, it's better. They've also added line of sight, and they've now incorporated like beta flight as well. So you've got sort of like a beta flight tuning setup, which I prefer. As for graphics, if that's important to you because of your computer speed, then I would say liftoff is the most demanding on graphics. And then I would say the least demanding would be Rotor Rush, and that has great flight characteristics. And then in the middle, probably Velocidrone, and then just before liftoff, we probably have the DRL simulator, which I used to recommend as being the best because it's free, but it's no longer free. So yeah, I need to try the Steam edition of that to see what's changed in there. But this computer is a bit of a beast. It is a Pentium i7 7700K with 64 gigabytes of RAM, and it's got a terabyte SSD hard drive and a NVIDIA 1080 Ti, and with all of that I can just about run everything maxed out at 60 FPS 1080p whilst screen recording in Fraps. So I'm using Fraps here, and it can run at 4K as well. But if you don't have a good computer that can do all that, then yeah, Rotor Rush, I think it's a bit more expensive, Rotor Rush. And of course you need to have Steam for liftoff. So Steam is sort of like a download thing for games, and I think actually GTA 5 has a mod where you can do FPV in there if you've already got GTA 5. And yeah, I've got my Tyrannus connected directly to this, and it acts as like a joystick and stuff. So anyways, I think that's enough talking. This is, oh look, there's a guy there doing FPV. That's me, it says me on it, look. I know what everyone's thinking, can you run into the person? But it's fine because it's a game, isn't it? No, you can't run into the person. Look at him there, just standing there with his fat sharks on. Okay, let's reset this, and let's take a look at the flight controller settings. So if we go in here now, you can see we've got flight controller settings, so you can change everything. It's like beta flight here, really nice. If we go back there and then resume, We've got various camera settings, so you can do the old, you know, if you want interference to make it realistic or whatever, then you can do that, but I like to have that off. We've got various different views now. I kind of don't like this view because look what happens, it kind of goes a little bit weird. Yeah, but that's sort of like the point of view, third person view, whatever you want to call it. And if you press B, and then I'll reset that, we've now got a line of sight, which is quite nice as well. Dropping frames a little bit there while it gets used to it. So yeah, even with a top-notch computer, you can still drop frames, but I am screen recording here. So this is what I liked about Velocidrone, and it's now in liftoff as well. This is the core frame from FURC that I'm hoping to build at some point, so it's cool that that's in there. Loads of different quadcopters in here now, and I think if I press B again, I've now got that sort of third person view, but it sort of rotates with the quad, which is a little bit better. But yeah, I'm still not gonna use it there. So yeah, a couple of things that have changed that. Oh, that's making me dizzy, that setting. So I'm not sure about that. Anyways, let's exit out of here. So if I just press quit there, show you to quit, yes. So we've got the main menu here. We've got a new option, Freestyle. I don't really like that. It sort of gives you points as you're flying and stuff. We've got the track builder. There's so much stuff to go through. So let's go into free flight. And they've added the Dubai racetrack, you know, the one that Banny UK won. That's over here somewhere. Where is that? It's over here. So we got all sorts of new different places. They're still calling it early access, which it kind of isn't anymore. It's been out for like a year. So we've got different track settings that I can choose. So is that loading? If we press play there, and it's just going to load up. And then look at this. Look at all these different quads that we've got now. It's pretty cool. Different quadcopters. Anyway, I'm going to stick with this one here, so let's select that. You can change all sorts of things in the workbench. I'm not going to go through that here, but yeah, it might take a little while to load this one because it's quite a big scene. So let's just go with the default here and then confirm. Oh, we can now change things like the camera angle and the field of view just with hotkeys, which is quite nice. And then, yeah, we've got the, look at this. This is the Dubai racetrack here. Oh dear. I'm not that great at racing. I've got no experience whatsoever. And there's lots of metal posts to run into here. It's kind of cool that you've got this though. If you want like official tracks and stuff, then Rotor Rush has that. I think Velocidrone has less of the official tracks, but I need to check out Velocidrone. There's just so much to all of these sims. Oh, nearly hit it. Yeah, this is awesome. This is... Oh, I need more camera angle on this, I think. Wow, this looks really nice though. Just over the top. Oh, I'm gonna crash. I haven't flown this scene yet whatsoever. This is the difficult part. Oh dear. But it's pretty cool. We still have the limit, the height limit. It depends on the scene though. Let's see. There we go. Look, disabled my throttle. So yeah, there are still some things I don't like about it. Yeah, like the height limit, but I suppose they have to do that because otherwise it's probably going to start doing weird things with the physics, etc. But yeah, anyways, that's just a sort of quick look at some of the things that have updated. So let's quit out of there, and are you sure you want to quit? Yes, and let's do some tricks now, otherwise this video is going to be too long. Let's choose a nice place to fly. So let's just go for this open spaced one here. And should we choose one with a track? Yeah, let's choose one with a track. Oh, one thing I want to mention as well is there's now a 3D option. So if you want to try your hand at doing 3D, I'll wait till it loads here. So I think, which one is it? Is it A? Yeah, can you see there? So if I now put my stick in the middle, we've got like collective here. So now I can flip upside down and check it out. We've got some 3D, which I'm not good at all. In fact, if you want to do 3D, it's probably best to bring down your camera angle a little bit, because then when you flip upside down, it's more equal. So I wonder if I can do some turns upside down. Do some get through a gate upside down, maybe. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. Ah! Yeah, I still need to practice that. Imagine if you went through this entire course upside down. Well, one thing I found is trying to fly upside down is it actually makes me a little bit sick, because like I'm completely not used to it whatsoever. I steer with the rudder when upside down, because your rudder's still the right way around, I think. It feels the right way around anyway. Maybe it's just because I'm upside down, I don't know. But yeah, like that, you can mess around with 3D if you want to. Anyways, let me reset out of there and switch back to acro, because yeah, I've messed around with this too much. Actually, it's horizon in there. Let's see what horizon is like. So yeah, self levels, and then if we go to the edge of the stick, wow, that is just like horizon mode. Okay, so let's do some AndyRC tricks. I don't claim to own any of these tricks. They're just tricks that I like to do, and I'm not sure about claiming tricks in one's name anyways. And these tricks all assume that you are comfortable flying around in acro. So if you're not, learn stability mode, go into horizon mode, and then go from there. But if you're in the simulator, you might as well go straight to acro mode, because it doesn't matter if you crash. So the biggest thing for me when doing some of the tricks that I do, it's all about the camera angle. So when you've got camera angle on a copter, like we've got here, in order to do turns, you need to coordinate them. So you can see, if you look at my sticks there, I'm putting in roll and yaw at the same time to get a flat turn. And the more you up your camera angle, the more you have to put in. Otherwise, if you go and yaw the copter without putting roll in, look what happens. It becomes roll at a certain point. So you have to add more roll in when you do your yaw. Otherwise, it does that. Look at the yaw stick there. So, you know, once you've cracked turns and stuff, you can pretty much do any of the maneuvers that I like to do. So let's move the angle down a little bit less aggressively. So a lot of this is muscle memory, and it also is dependent on knowing your field as well. I don't know this scenario very well, so I reference a lot of things. So one of the maneuvers I like to do, which doesn't really involve messing with coordinating, is I like to call it a knife edge flip. And what you do is you pick a point on the horizon, throttle up, go on knife edge, and then push the stick forward like that until you come back to your reference point, which is those tents. And it's basically just a backflip and a forward flip, but knife edge. And I think it looks really cool. So flip over to the side, push forward. You can actually coordinate when you flip over. So when you flip over there, I can put in opposite yaw so that I don't get that sort of barrel roll effect, because yeah, that's something that you get when you go for do a roll and you've got camera angle on. If you roll, you sort of do a barrel roll, and when you go upside down, the copter points to the ground. Can you see, like that? And it goes into a dive. If you want to do a proper roll, you put in, it's really odd, it's counterintuitive really, you put in opposite yaw. So if you watch the sticks, opposite yaw, we get a better roll, and you do have to play around with it a lot, but you then don't get that sort of pointing to the ground. You see, let me do it better than that, hang on, if I can. There we go. You see, proper roll, and then outwards for the opposite way. It's really odd, but you kind of get used to it. There you go, nice roll. I think, yeah, I'm not so good at it the other way around, but there, inwards, outwards, and you don't get the sort of barrel roll effect. So anyways, another maneuver that I like to do is the infinity flip. And when I first did this, people were like, have you got it in 3D mode? And no, all you do is when you do your flips, you blip the throttle at the bottom like that. So when we level out, blip the throttle, and you can actually gain height if your copter is powerful enough, and you can make you dizzy. You can also do the same forward flips as well. So blip, 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 and you stay at the same height. You can do it with rolls, however I struggle with rolls because I fly mode 1 and my throttle and roll are on the same stick, so it's harder for me to coordinate it, but I have a go at it anyways. So yeah, there's another maneuver I like to call the cartwheel, and it's basically an inverted yaw spin but knife edge. So you flip it over like that and then coordinate as best you can, and you kind of do a cartwheel like that. You can do like a couple of them and level out. I like doing that. So when I go into the knife edge, when I flip it into the side, I just add a little bit of yaw in like that to keep it in knife edge like that, you see. So I'll do that again and then coordinate, and then usually a roll or something like that. I also like to do hesitation maneuvers. Now this can be quite unpopular in this hobby because a lot of pilots like to have this, what they call flow. I fly my copter like it's a plane rather than it's a copter, so I like to do a lot of these, 4-point rolls. And yeah, that's not very popular, but that's what I like to do. And then you can add the yaw in at the same time to get them more smoother depending on your camera angle. And then there's the inverted yaw spin, which I'm going to completely mess up here because you really have to have a good frame of reference for your field. But it's basically the same as the cartwheel that I do, except you flip it inverted instead. So, and then coordinate your yaw and your roll at the same time. So all of these maneuvers as well, they rely on you having air. So you have to punch up on the throttle. I like to think of it as like if you throw a brick up in the air and then do a bunch of stuff before it lands. That's kind of what we do with these copters. So yeah, the inverted yaw spin, just coordinating the yaw and the roll whilst inverted, and you don't have to do that if you put your camera angle flat. So camera angle's flat there. If we just flip straight upside down, you only need to put yaw in, can you see? And that is a proper inverted yaw spin. Of course, we're not really doing that when we've got camera angle on, but you need forward momentum, so you kind of need to have a camera angle on. And that sort of shows you the differences there in how you have to compensate for camera angle. And that's sort of like the biggest thing I find when doing FPV. And yeah, I think that is all the maneuvers there. So we've just to recap, we've got the infinity flip, we have got the knife edge flips, we've got the cartwheel, and the inverted yaw spin, which I obviously didn't invent, and then the hesitation maneuvers there, which is basically 4-point rolls. And obviously I didn't invent this, but the half backflip's one I do as well. Half backflip and just background, probably the easiest FPV maneuver that you can do. Anyways, I think that is it for my liftoff tricks video and updates. I hope you enjoyed it, and as always, thanks so much for watching. Please continue to subscribe. Cheers.